All right. Welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining. We're super excited and thrilled to welcome you to this webinar, Revolutionizing Ext JS for Innovations to Supercharge Your Apps. I'd like to introduce our presenter, Darshan Hande, who is a senior software engineer at Celestial Systems. We'll make time for questions at the end of the presentation, but for now, I will hand it over to Darshan to walk you through everything. Darshan, over to you.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you guys for joining the webinar. So we are starting with the webinar. So like the topic is like the revolutionizing EXTJS, the four innovation which Celestial has built for the customers um, to support the app or increase the user interface and um, yeah, so the agenda of this is like the four innovations are the drag and drop, the custom layout, the virtual columns, and the dynamic view generation. So this, like as we all know, like EXTJS is widely used in the enterprise application. So there are like some requirements like which are like not feasible in the legacy browser, or like there is some advancements needed from the EXT end which is natively not supported in EXT, but the customer needs it. So Celestial has built around these four innovations in that sector. So first going with the drag and drop part, like the advanced drag and drop component system. So what here we have done is like as we all know, there is like dashboard is mostly widely used component. Like in all the web apps, like admin dashboard, executive dashboard, or sometimes we need to show like the stocks, stock market charts, or like those things, or like widgets we need to show in a plain area, and all those stuff we need like some kind of rearrangement of the components. So for that, normally we will use the native HTML drag and drop to build that. But the thing is like EXTJS also has the drag and drop feature. But like on top of that, we have created our own custom plugin where we can just give like the drag source or the target source for an element, and that can be easily draggable and droppable. So just showcasing the demo of it. Yeah, going with this thing. So here what I have done is like I have created one dashboard section like for the sales overview. So now we are this is like widgets which we have created, and suppose now if I try to drag this growth index between this revenue and customer metrics, as we can see, I can easily drag it. And now if I wanted that to compare asset value to be there before the market share for easy comparison, I can add it over here. Yeah. And then I want that revenue stream to be at the bottom, so I can add it here. And then like I want like all the three bigger widgets at the top, so easy and for the easy comparison purpose. So I can add it over here. As we can see, like there was not enough space over here, so it got like the little bit misalignment. But as we again, like if we synchronize all the layout again properly, so it will be again get rearranged. So if there is no enough space, so then also like if it was a native drag drop, so that position would have not been auto corrected. Like once we have all so now as we have already added, so now ROI analysis, if I wanted to add at the plat, so yeah. So this way we can easily handle with the, yeah, the drag drop plugin. Like the this feature like adding and the rearranging of the components in a dashboard section. Yeah. So if you have any queries in this, like you can keep with your notes, and later on the end of the webinar we can discuss, or I'll answer on that part. Yeah. So now moving to the innovation two, the custom dashboard layout engine. It was the most trickiest, or you can say the most challenging ask from one of our customer, where they wanted as we CSS grid was there. So CSS grid we all know like handles very much like very much efficiently like the width height of the like whatever divs are inside it, but having the same feature they wanted in IE, but IE doesn't support CSS grid. the Internet Explorer. So what we have done is like we extended the table layout. Like ExtJS has table layout, Hbox layout, border layout, VBox layout. But table layout doesn't have table layout can arrange the components in a table fashion. But the problem is that it doesn't have that knowledge of adding a component at a specific position, like if based on the available space. So here what we have done is like we have created a matrix of the available spaces, and as soon as some components get added over here, we will be based on the available space, we will be allocating the next component to the this thing to the next available space. So, and this one advantage of this is supported in Internet Explorer and all the operating system and all the browsers. Yeah, so now I will just go to that example. Yeah. So this is the like I will start with the layout. I will add one item or component. Mm. So see, and considering like I have given the six as six columns. Adds one card will consist of one column and large card will consist of two columns. So now if I add, so it takes two column space, and my max columns are six. So now if I add one more column and one more card, so now one, two, three, four, five. These are two and the remaining are five. So now if I add a large card and I said like it is having max six, so large card can't be added at this cell. So if I add, and if even it is not possible to add it over here, the next available space will be here. So if I add a large card over here, now if I again add a small card, so next available because here I have said six, so here it will be getting added. It got added, then added. And if I again add a large card, is there is no space over here, so it will be getting added to the next available space which was here. Then if I add a small card, then if I continuously add, so it, as you can see, this calculation like of dynamic allocation of the components, which we have built our own custom layout, extending the table layout like the call span, row span feature of the table layout. But on top of that, we have added the intelligent space allocation logic to exactly identify like where is the available space in the UI and add a component over there. Like yeah, this was one of the thing. And one more like going to the next thing is that innovation three, the virtual column management. We all know like the ExtJS column has like ExtJS grid holds the feature like buffer rendering and infinite scroll. As soon as we scroll, the records will be getting rendered. But in our case, there was one of the customer who was asking like he needs the same feature like in the column level also. Like as soon as he scroll, he wanted to show the data from 2020 to 2025 weeks data in a column fashion. So at that time, it will be around 200 to 300 columns directly. So considering like the 500 columns we are showing on a grid, so that time the whole 500 columns and 500 cells will be there. So it will be coming around like 250,000 cells to be rendered in a DOM, which is like browser wise also, it is very tough to render. And even like the resource is not proper, like there will be lot of browser resource consumption will be there. So for this thing, we come up with the option like we will render the columns only which are visible in the viewport, and like it can handle like around 5,000, more than 5,000 column also easily. So going with that example, I will just go to that example. Yeah. So considering this thing, so for like the things which are like I have just added like the cells which are rendered in the black and the cells which are to be rendered will be the white color. So now suppose if I as soon as scroll this thing, you will see the white cells are there. But now it will be getting rendered. This will be a 78. If I just scroll, as once the scroll ends, the records will be rendered. And if I can just tell you like how many the columns are there, as you can see, there are like 5,000 columns which we have rendered in a like 5,000 columns and 500 records are there. So just showing like the DOM size, like for better understanding. See, considering this record which I'm inspecting, I can just show you. As see, there are only 49 nodes. If considering like the two more than 2 lakh nodes, if this virtual column was not there, it is now 49. And in a single cell, it should be like around it is like less than 1%. Even like we can't, it is so if we are reducing the effort on the browser like to render these cells, like if 49 is too less, like considering like 5,000 columns. Yeah, so this is one of the innovation which we have built. So this has optimized the DOM management, dynamic column rendering system, and reduced browser resource consumption. So yeah, going to the innovation four is the dynamic view generation. Yeah, considering EXTJS, like from like more than 7 years, I'm working on EXTJS. So understanding the EXTJS, or what have come like EXTJS is widely used in the enterprise application where they have some kind of JSON or metadata configuration in the backend, which will be passed to the front end, and front end will have some form engine or parser which will parse the data coming from the backend, and then later it will be converting to the EXTJS understandable config, and then it will be rendered in the web view. But the thing now, what happens is, right, ki suppose the whole cycle has been done, like a backend team has created some metadata configuration, so front end team has evaluated and rendered on the view. So all this process has been done, the coding has been done, and the QA has passed, and the product has gone to the production. But the problem, what happens, right, in the production, some business analyst or a QA or a tester or someone who is like the client says like he needs some changes in that, like he needs some, it not like bigger changes, like minor changes, like he needs to change the field label, or he need to change some width, or he needs to change like he need to change the rearrange the position of the fields in a web page. So for that he should not again follow that whole SDLC life cycle and create a build and again host in the production. It is like a very bigger and tedious process to do. So for that, what we have come up is like we have created like a form designer, which will be able a user to edit the forms. So going with that, like I can show you the demo. Yeah. So considering this form, so here if you can see first name, last name, and middle name is there, and like address is there, which I wanted to make it street address. I want to make middle name between first name and the last name. So in such cases, it's very like for that we have built added this design mode. So when I click on the design mode, there will be a properties panel will be getting activated, and as soon as I click on first name, you can see the properties which are available on the first name will be coming over here, last name will be coming over here, middle name will be coming over here. So these are the things which we are there. And suppose if I drag drop this first name, I wanted to make middle name to be at the center. And if I save this, now if I reload the browser, now you can see the middle name is at the first, and it is getting updated in the backend. For temporary purpose, as there was no for a demo purpose, I am using this JSON bin for hosting that JSON to just showcase. Now see here it gets immediately updated. We are again like from the view, we are transforming that into a JSON and then again updating. Yeah. Now now suppose if I want one more thing to be, I want to change just instead of rearranging, I wanted to make this address as street address. Yeah, I can save it. And if I can reload, now it is street address. Yeah. So this is the thing which we can develop using this dynamic view generation. So that is like this is like mostly used like in all the enterprise application. Like currently, whatever we have worked with the clients, like around like more than 50% of the people are following such approach, like getting data from the backend and then rendering in the view. Yeah. So going to the next slide. Yeah. So guys, if anyone has any query, please yeah, you can raise the query or anything.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks so much, Darshan. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I see someone already posted a question in the Q&A section, but yeah, if you have questions to share, please, yeah, please drop them in the Q&A. So yeah, first question is this supported with the latest version of ExtJS also, or is it sort of bound to the version that it was developed?
Yeah, as this is like we are using Ext JS. So Ext JS supports the legacy browsers and all the operating system. So whatever feature we have developed are none of the features are like from third party. We are extending the Ext JS features. So whatever Ext JS supports, the features what we have developed will also support it.
Perfect, perfect. That makes sense. Next question is, yeah, can we include these on our existing applications, the same as native components, and support all native configs, methods, and properties, etc.? Or do they act like third-party components and need extra effort to plug within our application?
No, there is like no extra effort required. Like suppose like for consisting like ExtJS components, if we are using, we can directly add the ExtJS components. Like for drag and drop, if we are doing, so we can directly add. If there is like virtual columns, if we are using, so any ExtJS supported column, we can add it. And considering like third party components, or third party components can be added, like suppose consider the example of Frola editor which ExtJS has recently started supporting. So Frola editor is a third party component which they have created a wrapper inside ExtJS and they have added that. So similarly, if any third party components like which is developed in any other framework needs to be rendered in ExtJS, so what we can do is, right, we can simply add a TPL. Inside TPL, we can render that component and then we can show and we can add it in any ExtJS view.
Okay, okay. Next question is, how about theming support? Do these features support all the themes available on ExtJS?
Yeah, it will support all the themes. Yeah, because the base variables for all the themes, right? It will be same only. Yeah. So like whatever we have, like the base variables, we are not changing that. So every theme where whatever is available in the ExtJS will be supported.
Excellent, excellent. Um, how feasible or optimal is it to implement a drag and drop feature within or with a modern toolkit? Will we experience any lag?
No, drag and drop feature if implementing with like native Ext.js, so there is like we need to add a lot of configuration, like we need to specify everything, like what will be the source element, target element. We need to create a draggable area. We need to have all those things. But having the plugin which we have developed, there is only two things which we need to give is the draggable area. We just need to measure the source area and the target area. If we keep both source area and target area as same, we can easily rearrange. If we want something like one container we have, another container we have, so if we need to do drag and drop between two containers or cross containers, we can just change the source area as different and target area as different. And with that we can use. And yeah, as modern toolkit addressing the main question, like it will be lag. So there will be no lag considering. And if we go with the TPL approach, like whatever components we if we have and if we create a TPL of it, so it will be more lighter while doing a drag and drop. And as we can see, if we are following like even like whenever we are dragging, right, as we saw in the demo, there is like the ghost element. It will be showing like whatever we are dragging, there will be the thing what we are trying to drag that will be showcased near the cursor. So yeah, it will help us to identify like which element is dragged. So yeah.
Okay, okay, we're getting lots of questions, so this is great. For the dynamic column example, have you built it custom or have extended column components so that it has all the native features like sort filter, etc.?
Yeah, for virtual columns, right, what we have done is like we have not changed any of the ExtJS core functionality for on the grid part. We have added our own wrapper on it, like where the rendering was done. So we have added our logic on that section. Like we are not changing any column logic. We are just in the viewport whenever it is rendered, we are surpassing the rendering logic, and then we are only rendering the contents in the viewport. Considering about sorting and filtering. So sorting and filtering, if it is like sorting and filtering is not handled at the column level, it is on the store. So whatever changes we are doing on the store, like adding a filter on a store or so those features will be working like sorting and filtering. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Are all these features supported in legacy browsers or modern browsers only?
Yeah, it is supported in all the legacy browser and modern browser. Yeah. Mm,
Okay. Um, just a new question just popped in. Let's see. Do we have dynamic loading support in ExtJS so that my loads on browsers will be less huge or will be less for huge applications?
I didn't get. Can you repeat again, Cyril?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I totally botched it. Do we have dynamic loading support in the XTJS so that my load on browsers will be less, I guess, lower load for huge applications?
Yeah, we can have that dynamic loading, like the contents which are only visible, we can only have that. Like we can segregate actually package based things. Suppose if it is a bigger or if there is like a lot of modules in app, like there is a pricing module, there is a customer support module. If there is like a lot of modules, like around 8 to 9 modules are there in an app, which has like around like considering like thousand of views. So what we can have is like 9 packages we can create of it, and only the things whatever we are trying to load, like suppose if I'm opening a pricing module, so only the content respect to the there will be a package created of pricing module, and only whenever we are opening a pricing module, that package will be loaded in the app. So that will help us to reduce the load time of the app whenever we are loading at the initial. So, and whenever we are clicking on the respective module, that time the package will be loaded. This will help us to reduce the load time of the app, and also like it will be taking less browser resources.
Okay, okay, great. Next question is, can the dynamic layout be used with third-party components other than ExtJS?
Yeah, like third party components, yeah, we can do it. So what we can actually for the dynamic layout to use in the third party components, what we can have is actually is like we can create our own custom component inside which we can have a TPL, and the TPL will hold the third party component. So whenever it is getting rendered, so the third party component will be rendered properly because it is inside our ExtJS TPL. Directly, if we try to add it, it will not be possible. We need to add inside a TPL or a ExtJS component, then it's feasible.
Okay, okay. And then one more question. What advantages does the drag and drop plugin offer over standard HTML drag and drop?
Yeah, HTML drag and drop, like the thinking like of HTML drag and drop, like the feature is like we need to just add draggable true over there. But the whole thing, like after a drop, what needs to be done, like, and again, like while dragging the ghost element should be available. So those kind of logic is like very tedious to write in HTML. It is supported, no, right? If but the thing like which ExtJS drag and drop plugin which we have developed is like somewhat easy. It is like more the user should not worry about how to add drag and drop. The user should be worrying about how he can play the logical section with the drag and drop. He should not worry like what draggable area needs to be created. He just need to see like which should be that my target area where I need to drag only the logical part. He need not need to be worry about how he needs to implement. So it's something like that. So with the HTML drag and drop, we need to be if we are building from scratch, it is like too much code we need to write. But compared to ExtJS, it is just a plugin. Like within like 10 lines, we can make a component draggable.
Okay, okay. And then just while you were talking, we got three more questions. Actually, four. Okay, so let's see. Can we have these features as plugins and use them in multiple apps, or do we need to do a huge amount of coding to import them inside our apps?
Oh, for plugins, right? We just need to create a plugin. Like we will just extend the abstract plugin class, and we can create our own plugin. Plugin also has its own lifecycle methods, so we can create our plugin. And if it is there, and we just need to require that plugin with the plugins class in any of the view where we need, and then it can be accessible. And if suppose there is an like organization where they have built they are using one package throughout their, suppose they have like 10 product lines with them, and they have only one package which is shared in common, so they can add a plugin over there in their common package, and all the 10 product lines can access that class and then use the plugin feature in all the 10 product lines.
Hmm. Okay, super interesting. Next question is, what are the best practices for dynamically creating and managing views in ExtJS?
Dynamically, best practices will be something like what I have come across is like the more logic if we write on the front end part, like in the parsing section, to make the ExtJS configuration, to make the configuration which are coming from the metadata understandable by ExtJS. So it takes like the parsing, it will add an overhead on the browser as it is doing the conversion of backend configuration into ExtJS configuration. But if backend holds the configuration which is understandable by ExtJS only, like suppose a JSON. Now the hosted JSON which I have hosted was like ExtJS configuration, and which was rendering also in ExtJS. So the parsing for me it was very much less because both the configurations are same. Otherwise, if we are having, so we need to create a mapping of like the configuration. Like suppose someone will called X type in backend as type, and then in the front end it will be called as X type. So we need to hold that mapping, like the type needs to be converted into X type.
Okay, okay. Next one, let me see if I can. Yeah, on scroll, there is some pre-rendered rows over a config on infinite scroll. Can the same be achieved on columns?
Yeah, it is like that the virtual column is all about that only. So like whenever we are scrolling, so that time the cells are there. For now, I just kept it white because like to get easy grip, like which things are get rendered. So black and white can be easily distinguishable. That's why I kept. But like something like whenever we scroll, we can have a load mask till the new cells are getting loaded. But as we saw, like with 5,000 columns, it was taking less than a second to get rendered. So yeah.
Hmm, okay, okay. And then another one just popped up. What are common issues developers face with dynamic views, and how can they be resolved?
Common issues when they are using dynamic views. Dynamic views, the common issues they will be facing is like first, like is the parsing thing, like the backend configuration making understandable by ExtJS. So that is one thing which they need to look into a lot. Second is like they will have some controller methods. So whenever we are having some listeners, like on a click event or update event, so that time there should be as this functions, right? Whenever we are holding in the backend, we can't send directly a function as a to the backend as an object. It will be failing because function can't be sent. Like if we need to stringify the function and then send, and again converting that string, parsing the stringified function, it is adding a lot of overhead. So for that we need to have something like a utility methods which will do a same kind of job, and only the action, like suppose on click we need to open some pop-up, so show pop-up should be a generic class in one controller return which is responsible only for showing the pop-up. If some toast message is there, so it should just show toast or show warning message. So such kind of things we like utility method if we write, so it would be easy. Otherwise the developer will struggle in like adding the listeners in the view.
Hmm, okay, okay. And we are just about out of time, unfortunately. So yeah, I would like to thank everyone for joining, and Darshan, thanks for answering all these questions. I think this is probably the most active Q&A we've had on a webinar in a little while. So yeah, if you still if anyone still has questions that they didn't have time to ask today, please email sales@celestialsys.com, the address you see on your screen, and yeah, we'll be sure to get back to you. All right, Darshan, thank you so much, and yeah, have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you all.